So I need you to know something, and it's insanely important for us to keep going here. Anything and everything that triggers you when you're not self-aware has total power over you. My name is Trish Law. I'm a trauma-informed life coach, and my job is to help you become unfuckwithable. Do you like science? You want to know that part first? And then we'll talk about the spiritual parts. Okay, so triggers, when that happens to us, when we're emotionally flooded, what happens is called, depending on what it is, it's amygdala hijack, which means the reasoning part of your brain goes offline. This is when you're triggered. The reasoning part of your brain goes offline. The reason and logic literally goes away. And you go back to the most basic primal part of yourself, which is your survival mechanism. In other words, like your limbic system, but whatever, doesn't really matter. This is why I say you're your worst self when you're in survival mode, because you are the most primitive version of yourself when you're emotionally activated, especially when you're not self-aware. So when you're speaking to somebody that's triggered, you're not actually speaking to them. You're speaking to their representative. It's like this sort of like representative that's like, hello, I am here to protect the very sensitive underbelly of this person, so I'm going to either fight or flight or freeze. But you're not actually talking to the actual person. You're talking to their survival mechanism. Now, 85% of the planet does not know anything about what I just said. And here's the more spiritual part of it. When you get hijacked like that by your limbic system and your survival mechanism, you are powerless. 100% powerless. People think they're powerful in that state, but they're their least powerful. And here's the fucked up part. And I see this all the time. When someone's triggered, they're like, you've offended me, I am triggered. Change immediately. You must stop doing what you're doing, or the circumstance must go away. And then I won't be triggered anymore. And that's like the MO. Like brass tacks is like, I'm triggered, right? So, and I'm activated. So in order for me to not be activated, this thing has to shift in order for me to come back to a better state. So every time you're triggered and you need something outside of you to change in order for you to be okay, that thing that needs to change is more powerful than you. Okay? And I've had front row view of this like for the past few days. I had somebody get triggered because I was laughing about something on TikTok. They're like, stop laughing right now. It's triggering for me. And I'm like, well, I have power over you, don't I? Because if I don't stop laughing and you're still activated, that means that I hold all the cards. This is important to know if you have a narcissist in your life, because they love to throw people off center and they love to activate people, because there's some part of their weird narcissistic brain that knows that you don't know that they hold the power when they're activated. They've activated you. And that's just not true of narcissists. That's true of everything. Circumstances, people, situations, anyone and anything that triggers you when you're not aware of this immediately has power over you. So how do you change that? You take the word trigger, you cross it out, and you replace it with the word teacher. So now the person that you're really pissed off at has not become your trigger anymore. They have become your teacher. And when you don't have the representative showing up to manage all of that dysfunction in the nervous system, you've got a minute to like take a minute, pause, and be like, what is going on in here? What happened? Right? Like that guy that got so pissed off that I was laughing. I guarantee he had more stories than Mother Goose about why I needed to stop laughing. I guarantee he had a hard time pausing and figuring out what was actually going on in his nervous system that triggered him into the emotional state he was in. He had a story, but he didn't have an understanding what was going on in his nervous system. So if I don't change and I just keep doing what I'm doing and he's not self-aware, I have the control. You know how they say, like in martial arts, the person that's the calmest is always the person that wins? The same is true of pausing when we're triggered and becoming aware of the state that we're in emotionally. The minute we start identifying the emotions and giving our brain a different job than protecting us, we start to understand ourselves in a different level. And here's the better part, we take our power back. That's literally what I do all day. I help people take their power back. I'm like, oh cool, somebody triggered you. Would you like to bitch about that, or would you like to take your power back? Which one? because if you're bitching about this person, they hold all the power. Does that make sense? So you need a trigger library. We've talked about this before, and I want you to now to take that to the next level. And rather than keeping a trigger library, I want you to keep a teacher library, and they're going to teach you how to get to know your inner child. Isn't this fun? Oh, we're going to keep going. Don't worry. I love you guys so much. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. I feel like I found my home. See you tomorrow.